Justin?
So the guys like Tia and Deshaun, we've seen them elevate, but the guys behind them, who are some guys that have stood out to you as far as interior defensive line?
Bear. Jaro's doing some good things. He's flashing. Proud of him. He's a young man that was injured a year ago and just hadn't really caught a good break, and so he's finally healthy. He's doing some things and showing good twitch and vertical movement. So excited for him. Leroy starting to put things together. He's a young man from Cerritos, and excited for him. He's got good physical presence, and he's going to continue to grow. He's pushing for a position and playing time. Julian is one man, that young man that's very instinctive, really got good awareness. Just hadn't had an opportunity up until now to get on there, and he's starting to push for more reps. Edward put on some pounds. It's good to see his transformation from a year ago to the spring to now fall camp. I think Edward, if he continues to put on some of that muscle tissue and mass on his frame, he's a young man that has really, really quick twitch speed. And so he's also shown that with that added muscle on his frame, he's able to take on the blocks. And so it's good to see him perform. Malachi off of the edge, he's accumulated a lot of playing time and from his previous stop, and he's going to have a chance with us. I think Mays Pese, he's a young man. He's really got elite quickness, and he's going to start getting some looks and see how it goes for him. I think as a group overall, we just have a lot of guys that haven't had a lot of game experience overall. But I think with the way we're training and the way we're pushing these guys and setting the tone up front is critical. And so I'm excited for those guys. Dom is looking good so far. The best thing about these guys, they're overly critical of themselves, And so my job is to make sure that these guys are not harping too much and wallow in that space, but keep breathing positive reinforcement so we're not missing an opportunity to continue to work and not be dwelling on things that we didn't get right. And that's a great attribute to those dudes. So we're work in progress.
And when we talked to Danny the other day, when he was talking about guys, like Julian and Bear, he said, an example for them to watch is Hercules Matahafa, which is kind of a hell of a comparison. But when you look at Hercules and what he did under your direction, what similarities do you see, and what kind of example could that be for those guys?
I think that they have the sheer competitive nature. They want to do good. They want to compete at the highest level. I don't have to tell those guys too much to go, Hercules was an under-recruited young man that hardly anybody knew of him, but he had a mental strain and toughness, and those are the things that we're trying to breathe in the room. It's just the mental fortitude to be able to take every opportunity to contest, to compete, and get after somebody. And so excited for that, but it's not fair to Bear and Julian to draw all that of Hercules, because I think these guys here have a tremendous potential as well, but it's exciting. Because if they pull up Hercules film, it won't take them long to know who Hercules is. And we're building the same type of approach, taking the same type of approach with these guys.
Michael and Brian.
Seems like Danny is really dialing up a lot of different looks to throw at the offense. First of all, what do you think of his scheme? And then also, how do you think the players are adapting and learning?
To the credit of our players, man, they're able to grasp the material. It's a lot, but I think at some point in your camp, you have to get most of these things in, so that you have the ability to be able to kind of decipher what you need each week going into the season. So it's not so much of just blathering everything out there. We're trying to get it on. We need to get it on film so that we can look at it and see if it works and if it doesn't. And then also, it's a player-driven system, putting the best guys in the best position so that we can be productive. But I think to what Coach Danny has done in his past, man, is awesome. If I'm a player and I want to be aggressive, this is a system that allows you to do that. You know, the biggest thing that we're trying to get done in the room up front is we got to be sound fundamentally. That's the biggest thing, you know. Our ability to be it still comes down to striking, knockback, tear off and pursuing tackle. Those are the things that we still have to make sure that our guys are locked in, because I'm not about running around people. I think the goal has already been set. The expectations already been set to the group that we're going to go after people head up. We're not going to go round and round. We're not going to trick people. And it's really fascinating to have a system in Danny that allows our guys to play free and aggressive. And so we're looking forward to it's organized chaos, right? It's chaotic to others, but for us, it's pretty neat and organized.
Brian and Troy.
Ideally, how many players would you want to rotate into a game?
I mean, you at least you at least three deep at every spot, and then now you have an opportunity to kind of work with the personnel, and depending on how we wanted to present challenges against some of these offenses that we're going to be facing. You know, the way the game's played now, man, you're truly needing to make sure that obviously 2 deep, but for me it's a 3. We have to have a third guy in each of those positions. Now the goal is to make sure that we rep every guy and cross-train those guys in a process. We don't have time to kind of wait and see those who's going to be filling for the next man up type of situation. So we actually utilize every practice session that we have from now until the end of fall camp to kind of mix and match the guys up front. You know, and today we did some of that, and it's awesome. But it also built continuity. These guys got to be able to have the comfort level to play with each other and know each other's presence and where they're going to fit. And so we're going to continue to utilize that. But, you know, you can never have enough.
Yeah.
You know.
On that end, there's a couple guys that you're hoping to get here in camp. How late could they get involved where you think they could still be in the mix for the opener? You know,
I'm a firm believer that as a coach, that's your job, right? And they're working hard to get here. When they get here, we'll assess and give them a plan, and the plan is pretty going to be a simple one, and then we're just going to build it from there. You know, they've also been instructed and given opportunity to train and stay active while they're still working to get here, and so and they've done that, and so we'll see it and then assess it when they get here.
Troy and David.
Kind of going along those lines, you said 3 deep. How far along do you think you are in terms of numbers-wise, would you say right now, if you played coming soon?
I think it's still early. You know, we have a scrimmage and some live opportunities ahead of us, and then we'll go from there. You know, but you know, I tell the guys every day it's an opportunity to put it on film. Don't tell me, show me. You know, and because we're assessing the personnel part daily with the defensive staff and obviously as a staff as a whole. But the film from today's work was good, and can't wait to see what it looks like in real time later this afternoon. But I think just galvanizing and kind of harnessing the spirit of oneness and togetherness, and then just really put them on that situation and make them take ownership of it, you know, because those are the things that when we get lined up this fall, it's going to be those guys' mentality and their ability to be able to have the comfort of playing with one another and working together as a unit. I think we're still in the work in progress phase right now, but truly did some good things today. We got some opportunity to get after it, and so we're going to continue to build on that.
David and Justin.
Joe, when you enter a new program, what is really your process of how you evaluate what you have right away so you can kind of begin the steps of building those linemen into what you want?
You know, I think the biggest thing, you have to dive into the mental state of the young man. Does he love football, or does he likes football? There's two differences in those approach. And part of that in your vetting process is, you know, you got to put those young men in specific situations, whether it be in the classroom, on a board talk, what kind of football awareness, IQ they have, but also on the work, on the grass. Do they have what it takes to be coachable? And then, you got to look at their traits. Do they have any kind of athletic traits? Because that's the other piece of it all. You like the perfect one, but so long as the kid has tenacity, physicality, mindset, a good football understanding, you have a chance. But you have to coach those little things. Are they dynamic enough? You can't have a powerful young man that cannot go from 0 to 60 because they're so heavy-footed. So as a coach, you got to create some drills and things that addresses those things while you're still working forward. A lot of times coaches, they harp on the things that the kids that cannot do right instead of contributing their strength. You play to their strength, but then you address those other things by the way you structure drills. From what we did in the spring to now, it's a day and night difference because some of the guys in the room, they all needed different things. And so as a coach, you have to see that. Julian is different from Leroy. Leroy is different from Deshaun and Tia and Trey. All those guys have specific needs. And so what we did is in the spring and right into the end of spring into the summer, assessing what they needed. And so for me is to organize from that what we need in our everyday drills, our EDDs, and then to continue to work on those so that they can at least give themselves a chance, because now you're in a position to practice, and this is the difference in their movement has been awesome. But you have to know that. Now the other piece of that, do they fit the standard and what the expectation is in the program? There's a lot of great talent out there, but not every talent is meant to be here at this program. So we as recruiting coaches and whatnot, we have to make sure that we don't drift away from bringing guys in that fit what we do here. And again, Tucson's is a college town. We have a great community here, and those people these young men gotta fit what we're about here in Tucson. And I'll turn down the talent because if the talent doesn't fit here, because this is not a daycare. And that's also part of the recruiting thing. But the young men that's going to be coming through to Tucson, they're going to enjoy being around here. The community, the smallness of the town and the city, and just the opportunity to be in the big stage here in the Big 12.
And are there any, when you talk about 3 deep, are there any of those young guys that could potentially work their way into that?
Yes, man. We we got a couple more weeks. It's still early in the process, but I'm excited for where we're at right now at this point, just seeing how much. But we're throwing a lot at them, So it's one of those things. The NFL, man, you either swim or sink, But it's good to see the guys respond, and we're having a lot of opportunities with film review and walkthroughs to get more opportunities for those guys to get repetition.
Justin and Damien.
We've heard some position groups, they go out and golf together. I think Oglesby will hang out with the guys with his offensive line and watch UFC fights and stuff like that. Do you guys, as a defensive line, do anything outside of football?
We've done some things. We'll get into more of that. I've always in my past worked on getting the guys over for a meal, but I'm a competitive guy too. We got some activity. I just got to get the head coach to give me the okay. Because some of those are a little bit more active than usual, but the more time that we spend away from the building, the better. And so I'm excited to have the guys over our house when things get slow down a little bit, But everybody's different. I mean, there's bowling. We've done bowling in the past, pool. So you hate to bring that the aspect of competition, but it's always we find ourselves in those situations. But we'll do more of those when we get into it.
And then Arizona playing against Hawaii. It's the first time Arizona's played Hawaii since Dick Tomey passed away. What do you think about Dick Tomey's legacy in the state of Hawaii and just the matchup between these two teams in history?
You're talking about people driven. Coach Tomey had a way with everyone. No matter what the racial background was, and you see it in the way people respond to him. You would think that if you didn't know Coach, you probably thought he grew up in the islands, because you go around the islands and everybody still acknowledge him to this day because of what he is and what he brings to the table and how he treated everyone. And so it's a big deal to know that both programs have had the honor and pleasure to have Coach represent each organization. So excited for the opportunity, but man, it's all about, if I can if I can hear Coach Tomey yelling something right now, it's about the team, the team, the team. And you're no bigger than the team, same as coaches. So, those are some of the things that I'm so honored and blessed to have the chance as a former player to be in his presence. And we're going to continue to work. We're not there yet, but we're work in progress, and we're making strides.
Damian and Michael.
Joe, what is the key to getting a 300-pound, heavy-footed kid to develop the kind of violent quickness that you're looking for?
You got to look at the kid's, frame. Does he have growth potential? You got to see that first, because certain frames are not gonna grow any bigger than what they are, and so there's a little bit of that science, that medical piece to it. But again, does he also fit what we do? Some body types are probably not suited for certain schemes, but obviously those are the things that I'm looking for. Does he have enough in the hips and the lowers that's going to grow, or is he slender? Is he going to be, because your frame is only going to be allowed to put on the weight that you're supposed to put on. But I think those are the things that you got to vet out as you're looking at the prospect. It starts there, and then it's just a guessing game, but you really got to hone in on the young man's frame. Does he have the frame that can put on, or is he going to be tapping out at a certain point? So those are the things that I kind of look at from a defensive line prospect. And then you just got to go right down a list of things. Does he have short area quickness? Does he have decent lateral movement? Good football awareness. Does he have knockback ability? Does he play with heavy hands, or is he coachable? What's the grades looking like and those things. So obviously there's a lot of those little components that you're looking at, because everyone's different. Some body types are not going to be tall, but if you lack the length and you show it in other attributes like being elite in your quickness, short area quickness, and those things, you have to see if that still, because we've had success in my past having short guys that were really quick and have those traits. So it's just there's got to be a balance of what you're looking for as a player. I coached a young man from St. Pete, Jordan Scott. And Jordan Scott wasn't a tall young man, but he had very good balance and power, athletic, and he was a 300+ pound kid. And those are the things that you got to ID early on when you're going through your list of prospects.
Last question, Michael.
I know he's not technically in your position room anymore, but Chase Kennedy's around the line of scrimmage a lot. It seemed like he was really causing some havoc out there today. What are your just impressions of his?
I think that's the beauty of the system. When you have those type of players that are, have dual abilities of not just off the ball but on the line of scrimmage, then you have the chance to really mix and match and dial it up. Kennedy and Riley have those opportunities and those traits. So we're gonna mess with it. We want to kind of see how that would fit, but it's the exciting thing about it. It just gives you another extra speed on the field. To having those guys on the line of scrimmage, and so they've been cross training with us some, but we'll continue to build. Again, it's still early. Our guys know that the expectation is when your number's called, you got to go 100 miles an hour and teach it off the film. But I think the biggest thing is making sure that they know what to do and how to do it, and just got to keep pushing those guys. So I'm excited. I think that the biggest thing is it starts up front. I'm not a back end guy, but I know for sure what it looks like, what it should look like, and so we're working our tail off to get that thing addressed immediately, and it's going to be addressed. Otherwise, we won't have a chance. And the exciting thing about it, our guys are rallying to the cry and to the demand of what's going to take for us to take that next step. But it's still early in the process, and we just want to continue to compete and be 1% better each day and do it with a smile. But everybody else in the conference is working. So looking forward to the next thing that we have on our plate, and that's tomorrow. Get to fly around and hit a little bit and go from there.